Hello and welcome to CONMEBOL Qualifiers for the World Cup, penultimate and last match day in South America, already in the road to Qatar. Well, already we've seen 16 games and many things to decide. We have almost for sure the teams that are going to qualify for the World Cup, but still Colombia, Paraguay and Uruguay need to get their tickets. And even more interesting, Leo, the playoff spot between Venezuela and Bolivia.
Hi, Edu. Yes, absolutely. I think that spot, the playoff one, is the one to be decided on Matchday 17 and Matchday 18. So we're going to have the end of a qualifiers that's going to go to the wire, at least between Venezuela and Bolivia.
Probably even until the last match day, because I expect them both to lose in this penultimate match day. But little by little, just Leo, I'm sure you brought your calculator with you, because we have to make numbers in this match day. So guys, stay tuned with us. There is no club football, but we have plenty of action internationally, and in Oddspedia we are going to analyze the most interesting games in South America, as always, all the games, and in Europe. So guys, if you enjoy our videos, I just ask you to press the like and subscribe. Leave your comments also telling us who are you backing. And now let's go on with the show. And the first stop, Leo, is going to be in Argentina. Argentina, Venezuela, of course, all eyes on Venezuela. 18 points, only one more than Bolivia. And this was thanks to the last win they got against Colombia. And no, sorry, the last game is going to be at home with Colombia. This is the important one to secure the last spot in the playoff. The last game they played was a defeat against Uruguay, and nothing to play for here for Argentina. Best team in South America by far, 10 points difference with the second one. The last home game was a draw against Colombia. I'm not sure if Venezuela could benefit from Argentina's rest and first spot, and Argentina are going to take this game as a friendly one.
No, I don't think so. Not at all that Argentina will take it as a friendly one. Players are fighting for a spot in the squad for the next year, for the World Cup. With Venezuela, of course, this is not as massive as Matchday 18 at home against Colombia, because there is when everything going to be decided for them, I believe. For sure, they will sign right now a draw in El Monumental in Buenos Aires. But I think it's going to go, as I said in the introduction, to the wire on the last match day. And actually, because they both feel comfortable at home. When I'm talking about both, I'm saying Venezuela and Bolivia. Venezuela at home, they won the last two, and before that, it was a draw with Brazil and Argentina, and also against Uruguay. On the road, the story is different for the Vinotinto, Edu. They lost the last 5 games in a row. The opportunity is huge anyway to make it to the playoff and keep dreaming for the first ever World Cup for Venezuela. So we need to see as well how they cope with that pressure. For Argentina, it's going to be as well as a very special night in Buenos Aires, and there is one huge reason for that, at least from the Argentinian side. That is because it's going to be the last game, the last match of Messi in Argentinian soil. Because on last match day, Argentina is playing away in Quito, then October, November, international breaks. You're going to have friendlies. Argentina is going to play in the US against Puerto Rico and someone else in March. If Spain is already qualified, we're going to have the Finalissima somewhere in Europe. So there will be no more chances for the Argentinian supporters to see Messi at home. The occasion is so special for him that he will travel. He already said that with all his family to be there present at the Monumental on Thursday night. He's arriving in quite good form. He was one to set up the semifinal win of the League's Cup against Orlando with an assist and also with a goal. Then on the finals in Seattle, it didn't go well for Inter Miami, neither for Messi. They lost 3-0 and he didn't do much. But still, he's in a good shape, I would say, Leo Messi. The squad called by Scaloni is interesting one, Edu. First of all, lots of young blood. I'm gonna start saying that he called 𝐿𝐿𝐴, Franco Mastantuono, Valentin Carboni, Claudio Echeverri. From those 4 players, as of today, I believe one, but maximum 2, but mostly one, I would say, will go to the World Cup. I believe today that name is 𝐿𝐴, though Mastantuono's performances at Real Madrid could change that. I'm surprised that he already played, actually, Mastantuono 2 games from the start. I have the feeling that people are expecting him to be the player that he's not. Someone who can take on defenders and score. That's not him. He doesn't have the virtuosity and the talent of Lamine. He hasn't got the speed of 𝗵𝗵 at the same age. But he can be a very good number 10, playing behind the striker, the typical South American 𝗀𝗵𝐿, but not playing on the wing. He's going to be an effective there, I believe. Carboni is someone who Scaloni likes a lot. He was in the Copa America squad last year. Now he's in Genoa, and he is someone who, yes, he can play on the side, on the wing, but not Mastantuono. And with Echeverri, we must see. Now he's on loan in Bayer Leverkusen. I trust him. He's a good talent, but I do not trust his new manager, Erik ten Hag. Then you have another youngster in Julio Soler, the left back from Bournemouth, 20 years old. He's in a battle with Marcos Acuna to see who goes to the World Cup. The other left back spot is guaranteed for Nico Tagliafico. On the right, Nahuel Molina. Difficult to explain his presence still in the national squad. He's not playing even now with Simeone. Montiel is back, but even with the low standards of the Argentinian league, he's not doing very well in River. De Paul, having gone to Miami, having lost his place, and he's never going to be his spot in danger. He's the voice of Scaloni inside the pitch. Is what Mascherano used to be for managers years before that. Is De Paul for Scaloni. There is a surprise in the squad in the name of José Manuel López, the Palmeiras striker. He scored 1 goal in the Club World Cup. He's been usually second option for Abel Ferreira, but despite that, he netted 17 times in 2025 and got his first international call. Tati Castellanos, yes, he scored on the weekend, but he's out this time. I will see if Lopez can grab his chance. So yes, the golden chance here is for Venezuela, although for them I believe is more important the last match day at home against Colombia. The X1 odds are on 1.25, 1.27. So I'm going to go for a little bit more exciting odds, and still with Argentina's favorites. My take here, Edu, Argentina to win combined with goals over 2.5, these two together, odds of 1.97.
Last meeting in Argentina was 3-0 indeed, and it's the most common result between these two teams according to Oddspedia. So the bookies expect goals over 3 goals is 1.94. So there is again expected to see goals in Venezuela. Remember, was 1-1. So Venezuela need to catch point to go to the playoffs. We will analyze the playoffs when time arrives, Leo, but it's changed the format. So now it's not only one game between some country in Asia or New Zealand or whatever. Now it's kind of a league between the confederations. Africa, we are going to have Asia, we are going to have North America. So it's going to be interesting to see these playoffs. For the playoffs also, Bolivia want to qualify, and probably this is the key game in the penultimate match day. Colombia, Bolivia, because Colombia, they want to seal their ticket to the World Cup before traveling to Venezuela in the last match day, and Bolivia, they are looking for the miracle. Their schedule is very complicated because they play this away game in Colombia, and then they are hosting Brazil in El Alto. So they have to get the 3 points against Brazil, probably, because the bookies, as we can see, expect Colombia to win 1.17. We know how Bolivia suffer when they are playing away. Only win was in Chile. And, well, Colombia drew with Argentina, Peru, and Paraguay in the last 3 games. So winless in the last 6. Leo, we have to go back to October to see them beating Chile, to see a victory for the Cafeteros.
Yes, but you know, Edu, even though they are 6 without a win, for Colombia the feeling is different after match day 16, because we saw completely different face, a more positive one in Buenos Aires against Argentina in that 1-1 draw. They need a win to finally and completely arrive to US, Mexico, and Canada. We saw probably the best goal of the qualifiers, a wonder goal from Luis Diaz in Buenos Aires, a goal that deserved the celebration in which James Rodriguez placed an imaginary crown on the Bayern Munich winger's head. Since then, we have seen other players, other Colombian players like Richard Rios, also moving clubs, now playing for Benfica, after very good years at Palmeiras. On the other hand, you have players like John Durant, whose career has taken ridiculous turns, from Aston Villa to Al Nassr and now for 𝗵𝗵𝗫. He lost his place in the squad for these 2 matches. Néstor Lorenzo called 𝗲𝗏𝗏 Moreno instead, who is back with the Cafeteros after 9 years. That's correct, not after 9 matches or 9 months. He's back after 9 years. His last time around was in the Copa América Centenario in 2016. He made his debut with Colombia in 2006. That is almost 20 years ago. Next month, 𝗲𝗏𝗏 Moreno is turning 40. He's the number 1 in the list of the most prolific strikers in the history of Colombian football. He's currently playing for Once Caldas and is the goal scorer of the Copa Sudamericana with 8 goals. So it's not only a romantic goal, let's say. The 𝗲𝗏𝗏 Moreno is still performing, although he's almost 40 years old. The mood has been different, even if they're winless as well at home, as you mentioned, in the last 3 games, no wins in Barranquilla for Colombia. We should see changes in Néstor Lorenzo's team. Anyway, we're going to see the return of Camilo Vargas in goal. At right back, is a shame that we cannot, Lorenzo cannot count with Daniel Muñoz, the Crystal Palace right wing back, because he is suspended for this one, but he will return for the Venezuela clash. So we should see Santiago Arias deputizing there. But then James Rodriguez, Rios, Lerma, Castaño, Davinson Sanchez, 𝗀𝗏𝗏, who is about to leave Bologna, and Mojica are almost guaranteed to start. We know the drill with Bolivia. Yes, they had an historic win away with Chile, these qualifiers, but since then it's back to normal. 4 consecutive defeats on the road and scoring just 1 goal, and that was in the 3-1 defeat in Lima against Peru. They will leave it all against Brazil in El Alto. This said, there is an scenario which is tragic for Colombia. That is Venezuela winning in Buenos Aires, Bolivia winning in Barranquilla, and that will make the trip to face the Vinotinto a must win for the Cafeteros. But it's a scenario which I don't count it almost at all, Edu. There is no value in Colombia to win. The Asian handicap market starts getting spicy after minus 1.75 for Colombia, which is roughly 1.68. There are some lines which I like. Colombia clean sheet. Bolivia doesn't have truth at all. Colombia clean sheet 1.65. Colombia to win 2-0 1.75. Colombia to score in both halves 1.7. The 3 of them are good, to be honest, for me, Edu, but I'm choosing, my take here is Colombia to win 2-0. Remember, in front they have Bolivia. Colombia to win 2-0 1.75.
4 goals away, Bolivia, in this road to the World Cup. Perhaps if you are looking for individual markets, Luis Diaz is in a good moment. Leo, could be a good option, right?
Yes, absolutely. To be honest, I was trying to get some individual markets, but at least at the time we were recording our show, I couldn't find ones. But yes, if I need to go for one, it will be Luis Diaz to to score or assist, and James Rodriguez as well to score or assist anytime. That should be giving you good returns, guys.
Brilliant start in the Bundesliga for Luis Diaz. The next game, Paraguay, Ecuador. Here, I wouldn't expect many goals at all between these two teams. Ecuador, the surprise of these qualifiers, second in the standings. Remember even that they started with -3 points. So they've been brilliant.
Exactly.
And Paraguay just disclosed also to seal their ticket to the World Cup. Probably is happening in this match day, especially at home. They've been top-notch. Only 3 goals conceded at home, and they even beat Argentina. 6 wins, 1 draw, and only 1 defeat. Ecuador, 3 consecutive goalless draws, Leo. So if you are expecting a goal feast, I don't think you should tune this game in Asunción.
No. Absolutely. This game should be the face of what we are talking when we are talking about the goals under market. We have in front of us the miracle of Professor Alfaro. We've been talking about that since actually he took over in Paraguay after the Copa America, after Dani Garnero, another Argentinian manager, from almost bottom to have secured already at least the playoff spot, with the chance of celebrating straight qualification in front of their own people against Ecuador. If Alfaro was to run for president in Paraguay, he will win the election at the moment. And to manage the economy will be a kid's game compared to what he's done in these qualifiers. Alfaro took the Albirroja, as I said, after the Copa America. Since then, he managed 10 games. He won 5, 3 of them against Argentina, Brazil, and Uruguay. Drew 4 and lost only 1 against Brazil away, and that was for just 1-0 on match day 16. Paraguay will return to a World Cup for the first time since South Africa 2010. A point should be enough to seal qualification, but even without that, they could qualify even if Venezuela does not win in Buenos Aires. Alfaro is usually mocked because of his phrases. The language he chooses to use for some people is quite pretentious, and he's also mocked by some people because certainly not the Paraguayan people, but because his tactics, they say, that follow a different era. His approach to defensive. Paraguay with him have conceded 7 goals in 10 matches, 2 of those in El Alto, a place where everyone is more likely to concede. But I believe many miss the point because international football is completely different than club football. Tactics, yes, great and important, but it's less so when you have the players for 7-10 days with 2 games in the middle, almost no space for training, and with plenty of your players having to play on Sunday afternoon, traveling for 13, 17 hours, arriving on Monday morning or afternoon, and then playing on Thursday. In that context, what you need is more man management than tactics management. Alfaro is king in that. I remember, for example, the Paul telling the story of that when Scaloni usually calls him to the video analysis room in Buenos Aires. They always end up talking about for 2 hours, and they don't even switch on the computer or the TV. They talk about life, about family, about how they are doing. And Alfaro is that type of manager as well. He did it with Ecuador. He's doing it with Paraguay. In Costa Rica, they wish he would have stayed. So that is Gustavo Alfaro and the situation for Paraguay. Ecuador at the back of 3 consecutive 0-0, but they're already looking for places to train in the US, Mexico, and Canada. To be honest, I thought that 𝗀𝗵𝗀 was not going to do as well as he's done. He has a great group of players, yes, generational talents, but that not always solves all the problem. They can now add 𝗀𝗻𝗀𝗀𝗀 to the Ecuadorian players who are in the top teams, as he's about to formalize his signing with Arsenal. 𝗻𝗀𝗀𝗀 and 𝐿𝐭𝐚𝐲 living in the same city now. I went to Stamford Bridge on Saturday and what a player Moises Caicedo, one of the best defensive midfielders in the world, that's for sure. The good news for La Tri is that Hernán Galíndez will be back in goal after he got injured before facing Brazil in June. Ángel Preciado, the right back, is in great form. playing for Sparta Praga and got qualification for the league stage of the Conference League. 𝗀𝗵 Estupiñán is a starter for Allegri in Milan. 𝐿𝗵𝗻𝗀 is now on loan in Racing Strasbourg, will hopefully reach the level we thought he would. Gonzalo Plata is a starter in a star-packed Flamengo, which tells you a lot about his level at the moment. Then the one in the squad not doing very well at the moment, that is 𝗀𝗏𝗻𝗀, Ecuador all-time goal scorer, but he will be in the starting 11 in Asunción despite not finding the net in the last 5 months for Inter de Porto Alegre. This one, of course, we said has an under 2.5 written all over. That is why we have it at 1.63. But look, Edu, Ecuador is already qualified, and Paraguay needs a point. My take here, draw, 3.1.
Goalless draw is written over it, kind of the Liverpool Arsenal, but here there is no 𝗀𝐽𝗧𝗍 to break the deadlock. Actually, under 2 goals is only 1.96, so it pays nothing. Goalless draw, or 1-0 perhaps for Paraguay could be another option. Next game, Uruguay. Peru, here, Uruguay almost with the ticket to the World Cup. We expect them to get it, and Peru almost out, but still, Leo, we need certainties in this match day, because there are slim options for both of them to change this situation. Uruguay, I think they've done a qualification, Leo, starting very strong with Bielsa on the bench and going down and down and down, but in the last game they beat Venezuela 2-0. It was a very important result for them. And Peru, they drew with Ecuador, a goalless draw in the last match days. Only 2 wins in this road to the World Cup. And there is a name that I want to ask you about him, Darwin Núñez. I was surprised to see him this young, going away from the elite of football. How is he doing so far?
I mean, he's doing all right. He scored, I think, 1 or 2 goals since he arrived to Saudi football. Actually, he was joking that he will see what Marcelo Bielsa has to tell him about his decision of moving from Liverpool to Saudi football. It's a strange move again for a young player, but something that we are seeing it often, I would say, at the moment. It's true he was not going to have many minutes in Liverpool, but he had offers. He could have gone to Napoli, for example. But well, money talks, Edu, and he's in the squad. He cannot play against Peru. He's suspended, but he's gonna be back for the last match day. Peru, Edu, they need to start thinking about 2030. They are under their 3rd manager of the qualifiers, with Oscar Ibáñez after Juan Reynoso and Fossati. That tells you alone the story of inconsistent performances and results. They are at the back of 2 consecutive 0-0, at least against Colombia and Ecuador. But the result, I believe, that hurts them the most, even though now they still have mathematical chances of making it to the playoff, is that 1-0 defeat with Venezuela before those 2 draws. I mean, the chances for Peru is that they need to win the last 2 games, and Venezuela and Bolivia, they need to lose those last 2 games, something that is not going to happen, let alone thinking of Peru winning the last 2 games. For Uruguay, things are straight. They will qualify if they win or draw with Peru. They lose against Peru, and Venezuela do not beat Argentina. They are in the World Cup as well. So, yes, we're going to see, of course, Marcelo Bielsa's Uruguay in 2026. Although strange qualifiers, I completely agree with you. They started very, very well. But then after the Copa America, it was completely different for Uruguay and for Marcelo Bielsa. We had those were from Luis Suarez, who didn't help at all as well the group. There are young players in this squad, at least for the last 2 match days. New faces: Santiago Mourinho from Alavés, Facundo Bernal, who plays for Fluminense, Matías Abaldo, a young striker from Gimnasia La Plata in Argentinian League, also Ignacio La Quintana, a winger from Bragantino in the Brasileirao. Bielsa needed some new faces because he won't be able, as I said, with Darwin Núñez. but also without Ronald Araujo and Nate Hernandez, at least for the game against Peru. Max Araujo will miss both matches because of injury. The same goes for Nico de la Cruz and 𝗂𝗏 Jimenez. For Bielsa and Uruguay, that win against Venezuela in June was vital because the Celestes were 4 without winning on that time with 2 defeats. And it was not just the 3 points, but Uruguay had a good game. Bentancur was outstanding in midfield. De Arrascaeta scored from outside of the box and played his best game in a long time with the national team. Rodrigo Aguirre as a number 9 did well too. Again, this game has almost no value on X1. And another game in which to win 2-0 is a good option. Peru has scored just 6 goals in 16 matches, even less than Chile, that is bottom of all. On the Asian handicap market, the -1 for Uruguay has not great value, 1.48. The -1.5, meaning Uruguay needs to win by 2, is at 1.98. However, Edu, Uruguay scored 2 or more just twice in the last 10 games in these qualifiers. That is why I'm going for the win 2-0 for Uruguay, which is 1.9. Basically, a 1-0 win should be enough for Uruguay to get that odds on in the bag.
Well, Peru has not scored away from home. Only 2 points, only 2 draws, 0 goals scored, 11 goals conceded. So it's not a bad idea to go for Uruguay to win 2-0, 1-0, 2-0, and you get your bet correct. And the last game here, nothing on stake. I'm talking about Brazil, Chile. Chile bottom of these qualifiers with only 10 points, with only 2 wins. Brazil 25 points with Ancelotti making changes in the list. He said he wants to see some other players that he doesn't know. That's why Rodrigo or Vinicius are not in the list. That's why, not because of that, but Neymar is also not in the list. I was shocked when I heard Neymar saying he has nothing to prove when he hasn't been playing elite football in a while. I think he does indeed need things to prove at this stage of his career. And for instance, we are seeing a great Richarlison, Leo, with a very good start with the Spurs, even if his team lost in the last weekend. So I guess a lot of interesting players to see in this list. Some players also that went to Europe, no, recently. 𝗂𝗏𝗏𝗀, Wesley, 𝗂𝗏𝗏𝗀, some players that you know really well.
Yes, Edu, that's going to be interesting, those crop of players for Ancelotti to work with and to start knowing them. I think it was a good decision to give some rest to Rodrigo and Vinicius. I guess Real Madrid is very happy as well. I agree with you that Neymar did not help his case with those words, saying that he didn't have anything to prove. Anyway, he got injured, so he was not going to be called by Ancelotti. But I don't think so. Those words resonated very well with Carleto. This said, I would love to see Neymar with the national squad, with the Canarinha in the next World Cup. I'm a great admirer of him, but yes, he will need to do a lot to make it to the World Cup. For Chile, Edu, is finally they arriving to Matchday without Ricardo Gareca. He left finally the La Roja. They have now Nicolás Córdoba, who was within the setup of the national team, being the manager, the coach of the under-17s. We'll see. It's a financial decision, and also Chile may be trying to see if they can find their own Scaloni. Córdoba would like to make the case for a full-time appointment, but of course it's difficult when the first team to face is Brazil away. He didn't call Córdoba any of the golden generation players, and that's the correct decision. That is a chapter that needs to be closed in Chilean football. So a lot of youngsters and new faces for Chile. Carleto Ancelotti, without Neymar, as I said, Rodrigo, Vinicius, and also probably without Matheus Cunha, who got injured after only 30 minutes with Manchester United on the weekend against Burnley. But the position for the number 9 is well covered, of course, with 𝐿𝐭𝐼, the Cruzeiro striker, who is the goal scorer of the Brasileirão with 15 goals in 20 games. and he got a first call up by Ancelotti. They have Richarlison, you mentioned, of course, great start with Tottenham. Not perhaps this weekend against Bournemouth, but then on Matchday 1 in the Premier League, he scored a brace. Leading the line anyway is going to be João Pedro, who's still carrying performances, great performances from the a magnificent summer at the Club World Cup. I usually think that João Pedro is older, but he's only 23. No other club is better. Yes, absolutely. Because you look at 𝗂𝗏𝗏𝗧𝗏, yes, he's 18, André Santos 21, but he's only 23. No other club is represented in Ancelotti's squad better than Chelsea. João Pedro, André Santos, and 𝗂𝗏𝗏𝗧𝗏. 𝗂𝗏𝗏 is doing amazingly. Edu with the Blues, no adaptation time needed for him. Even in his friendly debut against Leverkusen in Stamford Bridge, not only he scored, but he looked so natural. Then against West Ham had his first start because of Palmer's injury in the warm-up, and he assisted Enzo for a goal. Against Fulham, he had another good display. And that is only reserved for top players, Edu. I think I said that in one of our shows long time ago. He was the real deal, not Endrick in Palmeiras. In midfield, Ancelotti will have the chance to work and know 𝗀𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗏𝗀 Paquetá for the first time. 𝗀𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗏𝗀𝗏 Paquetá, who scored on the weekend. He called again his most trusted player, his voice on the pitch, that is Casemiro. I mentioned before the players from Chelsea in the squad. Well, all midfielders he called are from the Premier League, actually. Casemiro, Guimaraes, Joelinton, André Santos, and 𝗀𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗏𝗀𝗏 Paquetá. So far for Ancelotti is one draw and one win as manager, different to his son Davide, who did not have a great start managing his career in Brazil with Botafogo. He got eliminated from the Copa Libertadores in the last 16. Of course, it's all about Brazil here, Edu. Not value 𝐻𝐿1. My take, Brazil Asian handicap minus 1.5, odds of 1.73.
And speaking a little bit of Portuguese, Ancelotti, Portuñol, I would say, is kind of the Portuguese that I can speak if I go on holidays to Lisbon, but credit to him, of course. His son in this is better. I heard him when he just arrived to Botafogo.
Yes.
His Portuguese actually was pretty good, I think. Well, guys, this is it in the CONMEBOL Qualifiers penultimate match day. We started a long time ago, Leo, I think. Before the Copa America 3 years ago. Is so long, this qualifier. So in the next week we are gonna have our last video, and we will know which teams are gonna play the World Cup in South America, and which team is gonna play this interesting and long playoff that we have next year. So in the meantime, guys, you can post your tips in Oddspedia. Remember, we have tipster competitions where you can win and earn some cash prizes. And since we are starting the month of September, there you go. You can participate in our monthly competition for September, or create your own one in Rivals and play with your friends. Leo, to finish, as always, we ask you for your safe bet.
What is a more safe bet than Brazil winning at home against Chile? Odds of 1.25.
And the ACCA?
Colombia to win 2-0, Uruguay to win, Brazil to score in both halves. These three together, odds of 4.65.
Well, Leo, I hope we, or perhaps yes, we see as a big surprise, like Inter losing to Udinese. Who would have thought?
Oh my God, yes.
In the Serie A.
2-1, yeah.
It was a shocking surprise, but I don't think Chile is going to win in Brazil. Anyway, guys, tell me in the comments what you think. And Leo, see you next Monday with
see you next Monday. Bye-bye.
Qualifiers. Bye-bye.